So, good day. We are the group 3 and we are going to talk about the process costing, which is from module 10. So, first are the definition of process costing, and then the similarities of process costing and job order costing, the different product flows and methods of costing under process costing, and the difference between FIFO and weighted average costing, methods of application cost elements in process costing, the three parts of cost of production report, and the accounting for lost units.
So, what is process costing? By the way, naririnig po ba ako?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so what is process costing? Process costing is an accounting method used by companies to allocate production costs to products. This method is particularly applicable to industries where large quantities of similar products are produced in a continuous flow, such as in the manufacturing of chemicals, foods, or textile. Process costing provides companies with a systematic way to track and allocate costs in industries with continuous production processes, contributing to better cost control and financial report. Next slide. Process costing is important because it helps companies as it allows them to control inventory by assigning costs to various stages of production. This helps in accurate distribution and ensures efficient management of resources. Additionally, it enables companies to monitor profits accurately by tracking expenses and earnings throughout the production process. And lastly, process costing facilitates uniform and precise reporting of financial numbers from each department, providing a comprehensive overview of the company's financial performance. Next slide po. Similarities of process costing and job order costing. Both systems involve recording and accumulating product costs for accounting purposes. Both system classifies product costs into direct materials, direct labor, and factory overhead for a comprehensive understanding of production expenses. In both methods, factory overhead costs are allocated to products to ensure a fair distribution of indirect costs. Both systems provide essential cost information that can be utilized for decision-making processes within the organization. And lastly, both systems employ a perpetual inventory system maintaining continuous and up-to-date records of materials, work in process, and finished goods inventory. Next slide po. Process costing versus job order costing. Um, Pag ang basis niya is nature, sa job order costing, work is performed per customer instruction or customized order. Sa process costing naman, work is performed on a continuous mass production or standardized production. Sa assignment and accumulation of costs are accumulated per job. And sa process costing naman is costs are accumulated per process or department and then spread it over to the unit produced. Sa cost center, job ordering job order costing each job. Process costing naman is each process or department. Transfers of costs, no transfer of cost sa job order costing. Sa process costing naman is costs are transferred from one process or department to another. Sa report, costs are accumulated using job order cost sheet. Costs are accumulated using the cost of production report. Sa kind of product produced, sa job order costing, heterogeneous or dissimilar products. And sa process costing naman is homogeneous or similar products. Then lastly, sa determination of cost, sa job order costing upon completion of the order, while sa process costing naman is at the end of the costing period. In process costing, product flow can be categorized into different methods. But before that, what is product flow? It refers to the movement and progression of a product through various stages of production or development. It outlines how tasks, processes, or components come together to create a final product. First, we have the sequentially product flow. Tasks are completed in a linear order, one after another. Each step must be finished before moving on to the next. The best example is the automobile assembly lines, where the chassis is constructed first, followed by the installation of the engine, and then the interior components. Second, the parallel product flow. Multiple stages of production operate simultaneously. Different units might be at different stages of production at the same time. Example is developing a new product where different teams work on design, manufacturing, and marketing simultaneously to reduce time to market. Third, we have the selective flow. Each unit may follow a unique path through the production process based on specific condition or requirement. An example of customized electronics manufacturing, where certain features or components are selectively added based on customer preference, creating different product variations. In other words, these different product flow methods help businesses adapt their production processes based on their specific needs and the nature of the product being manufactured. Sequential flows offer simplicity and order. Parallel flows enhance efficiency and reduce time to market. And the selective flow provides flexibility and customization. Next slide, please. In process costing, two common methods for assigning cost to units are the FIFO or first in first out method and the weighted average method. First, the FIFO method. FIFO assumes that the first units started in the production process are the first to be completed, which means costs incurred first are assigned to units completed first. Second, we have the weighted average method. It combines costs from the beginning inventory and costs incurred during the period to calculate the average cost per equivalent unit. Other words, assumes a blending of cost per units completed and in progress. In summary, both FIFO and weighted average are methods to allocate costs in process costing. FIFO emphasizes the chronological flow of costs, while weighted average blends cost for simplicity. The choice between them depends on the specific needs and characteristic of the production process. To give you more information regarding the FIFO method and weighted average, may I call the next presenter, please? Thank you.
So we have the difference between FIFO and weighted average. FIFO, it is an inventory and cost method where the oldest time or units are used or sold first. In other words, it assumes that the first items added to inventory are the first ones used or sold. Think of it like a line. You have a line of people waiting to buy something. The first person who joined the line is served first. In accounting, FIFO means we value or serve the older inventory first before the newer stuff. So we have the beginning inventory. Completed units and units in process are separately computed with their own stage of completion. The stage of completion for beginning inventory, completed units, is ignored. For cost calculation, we add the cost of the old inventory from the beginning to the cost of what we're currently producing. This helps us figure out how much it costs to make each unit. For variable cost, only the cost of what we're producing this month are used to calculate the cost per unit. Let's move on to the weighted average. It is a cost calculation method that takes into account both the existing inventory
and the cost of newly acquired inventory. It calculates the average cost per unit based on the weighted contribution of each unit's cost. You think of it like mixing. You have a bowl of ingredients, some from yesterday and some from fresh ones today. When you mix them, each ingredient contributes to the overall taste based on its quantity. In accounting, weighted average means we blend the cost of old and new inventory to find a mixed cost. We have the beginning inventory. So imagine blending everything together. Completed units from the beginning are combined with the units we're making this month. We consider them together. In cost calculation, we calculate cost per unit by considering both last month's and the current month's cost. It's like finding the average cost. And for variable cost, it includes both last month's and the current month's cost, giving a weighted average cost per unit. In simple terms, FIFO focuses on old and new inventory separately, while weighted average combines them, like treating everything as a mix.
I am now going to discuss the methods of application of cost elements in process costing. Here, there are two methods: the even application of cost and uneven application of cost. First, let us define those two methods. Even application of cost, dito yung materials, labor, and factory overhead were applied at the same rate throughout the production process. While in an even application of cost, yung materials, labor, and factory overhead were applied at different stages of the production process. Here's some illustration for you to understand more the even and uneven application of cost. Next slide, please. Okay. Uh, yung illustration, sabi niya, work and process beginning, 3 over 5 completed, 5,000 units. Started and process, 20,000 units. Transferred to next department, 19,000 units. And work in process end, 3 over 4 completed. Dito sa illustration, ang hinahanap niya ay EUP or equivalent units of production for FIFO and weighted average method. Ang unang gagawin is to compute for total units in process. Dahil gagamitin natin yan to compute for EUP for FIFO and weighted average method. Paano makuha si total units in process? Work in process beginning plus started in process and we will get the total units in process na 25,000. After that, makukompute na natin si EUP for FIFO method. So under FIFO method, work in process beginning is 5,000 units. Started in process, finished and transferred, 14,000 units. And work in process end is 6,000 units. Yung units ni work in process beginning, given naman na siya sa problem. Pero sa started in process, saan nang galing si 14,000? Makukuha natin or makukompute natin si 14,000 by excuse me, by adding the started in process 20,000 and transfer to next department na 19,000. Pag pinag-add natin yon, we will get 39,000. After we get the sum of that, i-deduct natin siya sa total units in process na 25,000 so that we can get the 14,000 started in process. Si work in process end naman, saan natin nakuha yung 6,000? Para makuha si 6,000, total units in process na 25,000 less transferred to next department na 19,000 para makuha natin yun. After that, i-determine naman natin yung work done. Hindi na tayo mahihirapan dito dahil given naman siya sa problem. Si work in process beginning, 3 over 5 completed. Si started in process, finish and transferred, lagi ang 100% kasi nga tapos na. Si work in process end, given din, 3 over 4 completed. At para makuha natin si EUP, i-multiply natin si units at si work done. Example, 5,000 times 3 over 5, we will get the 3,000 EUP. 14,000 times 100% and makuha natin si EUP ng 14,000 and 6,000 times 3 over 4 is equal to 4,500. So under FIFO, ang EUP natin ay 21,500. Next naman ay sa weighted. Ang pinagkaiba lang naman ng FIFO at weighted ay yung accounting for beginning inventory. Kasi dito sa weighted, dalawa lang yung accounts niya. Si finish and transferred at si work and process ending ay end. Paano nakuha si finish and transferred na 19,000? Nakuha si finish and transferred na 19,000 dun sa work and process beginning na 5,000 and started and process, finish and transferred na 14,000. Kaya nakuha yon. Tapos si work and process end naman, same lang din dun sa FIFO. Next, yung sa work done, 100% nga palagi kasi finish and transferred. And sa work in process end, given 3 over 4 completed. Katulad nga ng sinabi ko sa FIFO, para makuha si EUP, i-multiply natin si units at si work done. Kaya ang EUP, total EUP ng weighted average method ay 23,500. Yun yung sample sa even application of costs. Next, yung sa uneven application of cost naman. Dito sa uneven application of cost, same lang din ng illustration dun sa problem ng even application of cost. Pero dito, may additional information. Ang sabi, all materials are added at the beginning of the process, while the conversion costs are applied evenly throughout the process. Ito, kapag sinabing all materials are added at the beginning of the process, ibig sabihin, yung EUP for materials will be 0. Dahil ngayong materials were already added last month, and the units that started this month, which includes the started in process, finish, and transferred, and work in process, will have 100% stage of completion. Next slide. Okay. Paano makuha yung UI? Dito, same lang din. Ang unang gagawin, i-compute mo na si total units and process. Para gagamitin natin siya for computing the EUP ng FIFO and weighted average method. Dito sa FIFO, work in process beginning 5,000, started in process 14,000, work in process end 6,000. Ang pinagkaiba lang niya dun sa ang pinagkaiba niya dun sa even, yung work done. Kasi nga sabi niya dito, all materials are added at the beginning, kaya magiging 0 yung EUP ng materials ng materials. Tapos yung work done ng started and process at si work and process na end ay parehas na 100%. Katulad ka nung sinasabi ko, para makuha si EUP, i-multiply palagi si units at si work done. Paano naman makukuha yung EUP for labor and factory overhead or conversion cost? Parehas din lang ng computation dun sa even application of cost kung saan yung work done ay galing dun sa given sa problem. I-multiply lang si work done kay units to get the EUP. Same din lang dun sa weighted average method. At ayun lang. Next.
So under process costing, there are 3 parts of cost of production report, which is the quantity schedule, cost per equivalent unit, and the cost summary section. So the first one is quantity schedule. This section lists the quantity of units produced during a specific period. It provides information about the units completed and transferred out, as well as the units still in progress. So dito daw sa quantity schedule, nililista yung mga units na ipoproduce mo sa isang specific na or tiyak na panahon. Dito rin makikita yung mga information mo kung ilan yung na-completed na na-produce, kung ilan yung na-transferred na, at kung ilan yung in progress pa siya. So, for example, ang goal ng isang industry is makaproduce siya ng 10,000 units. So, doon mo rin makikita yung kunyari 70% pa lang ang completed, tapos 15% yung transferred out, and then 15% din yung is still in progress. So, ganun sa quantity schedule, makikita mo lang kung ilang units yung ipoproduce nila sa isang specific na period. So, on the next is the cost per equivalent unit. So, in this section, the cost per equivalent unit is calculated. It takes into the account the cost incurred in the production process and divides them by the equivalent units produced. This helps determine the cost of each unit produced. So, ang formula naman sa pagkuha ng cost per equivalent unit is the total cost is equal to last month cost plus current month cost plus cost from preceding department. So, dito naman sa cost per equivalent unit, makikita mo naman yung information regarding sa kung ilan yung nagastos niya per unit na na-produce niya. Dito rin kinukuha yung mga nagastos na nagawa sa proseso ng paggawa ng per units na ipoproduce niya. So, for example, ang nagastos niya sa pag-produce ng mga units is 10,000 and nakapag-produce siya ng 200 units. So, ang per unit niya is 50 pesos. Ganon. And then next is yung cost summary section. The cost summary section summarizes the production and cost activity within a specific department for a given reporting period. It includes the total cost incurred, such as materials, labor, and overhead, and provides a comprehensive overview of the cost of production. So, kanina, sa cost per equivalent unit, ang makikita lang doon is yung kung magkano yung nagastos niya per unit na ina-produce niya. Ngayon naman dito sa cost summary section, dito niya na makikita lahat ng nagastos niya including sa materials, sa labor niya, and dun sa other expenses niya. And then, yun nga, cost summary section from the word itself, summary or cost summary or lahat ng buod ng nagastos niya. So, yun lang. Next.
Accounting for lost units. The spoiled units under job order costing are actually the same as to the lost units under process costing. The lost units are removed from the production process because of its imperfection discovered during the quality control inspection. Accounting for lost units involves recognizing and adjusting for inventory or production units that have been damaged, stolen, or lost in some way. This is typically done through inventory write-offs or adjustment to accurately reflect the true value of inventory on hand. There are two types of accounting for lost units. Number one is normal lost units and the abnormal lost units. In normal lost units, these are spoiled units which are expected or anticipated, inherent, usual, and unavoidable in the production process or within the tolerance limit set by the company. These losses can occur due to various factors like shrinkage, breakage, or spoilage, and they are considered part of regular business activity. By estimating and factoring in these losses, companies can better manage their inventory, production, and financial reporting to reflect a more accurate picture of their operations and costs. While in abnormal loss units, these are spoiled units which are unexpected, not inherent, unusual, and unavoidable, or if it is expected, it beyond the tolerance limit set by the company. Abnormal loss units are those that occur unexpectedly or unusually deviating from the anticipated or normal level of loss within a business. Some of the examples are a warehouse getting flooded, fire in production facility, and intentional destruction. Accounting for abnormal loss units often involves investigating the cause, assessing the impact on financial statements, and implementing measures. Next slide. In detection of loss units, there are continuous normal loss units and continuous abnormal loss units. In continuous normal loss units occur evenly throughout the production process. It consists of three processes: start of the process, during the process, and the end of the process. Start the production as treated as if they were never put into process because they are already expected even before the actual production. Therefore, it includes the loss units in the computation of the EUP, which result to smaller number of total EUP. A smaller number of EUP leads to higher cost per equivalence units. During the production are assumed to have been inspected at the start of the process because difficulties might arise finding the right stage of completion for loss units. End of the production is 100% because loss units discovered at the end of the process are already been completed. The computation for start or during actual normal loss units multiplied to unit cost from preceding department. And in the end, EUP of normal loss units multiplied by unit cost of this department added to actual normal loss units multiplied unit loss from preceding department. Their absorbing good units has two cost of flow, FIFO cost flow, and weighted average cost flow. In number two, continuous abnormal loss units. Start process has 0% loss units in the computation of EUP, which means result to a smaller number of total EUP. During and the end of the process has the same 100%. During production are assumed to have been inspected at the end of the process. End of the production discovered during the production process are already been completed. Absorbing units. The cost of the abnormal loss units are not absorbed by the good units in process, and it shall be treated as period cost or expenses. That's all po.